AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. We're presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. And we are here today at Gordon McCronin Injury Attorney's office in Baton Rouge. Fired up. What a great day to be here for Gordon's bicycle giveaway, giving 600 bicycles away to children around the state of Louisiana. And we're just thrilled to be a little small part of it today, and happy to be here. And happy that bowl season is almost upon us. Tigers got their draw this past weekend. They'll head over to Houston to take on the Houston Cougars at NRG, a game that we're actually going to see to open the 2027 season. But the head man of the Cougs, former Tulane head coach, Willie Fritz, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Coach, it's our pleasure. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's our pleasure. Let me ask just an easy one right over the plate as we start. Your reaction when you got the word that LSU would be the matchup for you guys in the bowl game?
Oh, I think it's exciting to play. It's a great program like LSU. I got some friends that are on the staff over there, and they're always so good to me when I was at Tulane. We used to hold joint camps, pick with them a lot. And, so, yeah, it'll be fun to see some of those guys, in, a bowl setting prior to the game. Play quality opponent like those guys.
There's also some synergies as well. I think a lot of people remember your offensive coordinator, Slade Nagel, who was on staff at LSU, who was at Tulane and is now with you there. How's that transition gone with Slade as your OC this year?
Great. Slade's done a fantastic job. We struggled mightily our first year here offensively, and Slade's done a really good job organizing the staff and the players and figuring out pretty quick early in the season what we were good at, maybe what we weren't quite so good at, and he's really put a good offense together. So he's done a great job.
Well, you've also got a quarterback that people here are very familiar with, and Connor Wegman, who is at Texas A&M, of course, played against the Tigers a year ago at Kyle Field. I'm so curious, Coach, how, while you're at Houston, how aware Connor Wegman goes into the portal and you get him there. How aware are you of him during the season, or is that legwork done after the season to go sort of in that scouting department to look at who you may want to bring in, a guy like Connor?
Well, you wait until they get in the portal. That's what you're supposed to do,
sure.
Right? I think a lot of people do that. I had a little bit of a, inside track. I actually coached Connor's dad in college when I was at Sam Houston State many years. And then Sean Bell, our quarterback coach, really offered Connor's first Power 4 scholarship when he was at Baylor. And they had a real good relationship. Plus, he wanted to stay in Houston. He's a Houston kid. He wanted to stay here in the city. So it got worked out pretty quick.
What's been your impressions having him there and how he's assimilated? I mean, look, you're 9-3, and as you mentioned, a really nice improvement offensively this year for the Cougs. What have been your impressions of Connor having him this year?
Well, he's healthy. He got beat up pretty good A&M his last season. He was a little bit beat up when he first got to us. We kind of worked through that January, February, March, and then he did a great job in spring ball. And totally healthy now, and he's a dual threat quarterback. He probably runs better than most people think he's going to run. Got good speed, and he's able to hit it north south and get vertical. He's not one of those guys who's running east and west, not gaining anything. He's a very accurate passer. And, football is a complicated game. I'm always I enjoy sitting in there listening and watching him, and his understanding of football and concepts, and what we're doing schematically. He just he's kind of a football junkie. He's just gotten better and better as the season progressed.
2,500 yards, 21 touchdowns, a nice season for your signal caller. I wanted to ask about one of the interesting things just about, Coach, this day and age in college football is in games like this, you're going to run across guys that maybe played at the school you were, whatever the case may be. You got a couple of former LSU guys in Christian Braithwaite and Jordan Allen on your team. I'm sure there's a lot of fans here who remember those guys in the purple and gold. Let's love an update on how it's gone with those two on your roster.
Well, they've done a great job. They came in and jumped right into it. Jordan starts for us, safety, had a really nice season for us. Christian's kind of battled some injuries this year, but he's healthy, and he'll be out in the field playing in some kicking games on the 27th when we play LSU.
Willie Fritz is with us, head coach of the Houston Cougars, getting ready for the the Texas Bowl in Houston coming up on the 27th. As you mentioned, Coach, there's always this debate as well just about the value of a bowl game and playing. And Frank Wilson, I know said it was never really a consideration not to play. Of course they were going to play. Where do you fall on that right now, on the value of this for your program?
Well, I think it's real valuable for us. We're very excited about it. We had a tough year, my first year here in Houston, and I think everybody's goal is to play in a bowl game, and then after that it's CFP and, national championship, all those kind of things. But this is a big reward for us, turning it around this season and going 9-3 and coming close in a couple other games and in a tough conference, like the Big 12, where everybody's pretty good. It's one of those leagues where, every week you got to be ready to play. And in some other leagues where you might have to, bring your C game on, you still are able to win. But in this same thing in the SEC, you got to be ready to play every single week. And so, we're very, very pumped up and excited about this opportunity.
You'll have Frank Wilson on the opposite sideline. I would imagine Coach Frank is one of the ones that you know well from the times collaborating at LSU. Have you had a chance to talk to Coach Frank and maybe a thought on the job he's done?
No, I haven't. I haven't had a chance to visit with him, but I know Frank. Got a lot of respect for him. Kevin Peoples coached for me at a few places. The outside edge defensive end coach there. Coached for me. I think I gave his first job at Glenn Junior College many, many years ago. And then he coached for me at a place called Central Missouri, and Georgia Southern, and Tulane, and Alex Atkins also coached for me at Georgia Southern and Tulane. So then Jack Whitty was a graduate assistant for me. He's also, I think, an analyst, an assistant over there at LSU. So, I know quite a few of the guys.
Pretty wild, huh? Oh, those are some deep-rooted synergies. I guess you coach for a long time. You're going to cross paths with a whole bunch of guys. That's pretty incredible. Coach, just a couple more if I could before you go. I'd love to know. You had a great run at Tulane, and people here obviously who love to watch a Tulane to pull for you there. I'd love the thought just on watching Tulane make this run to the CFP this year.
Well, I'm really proud of them. It's a great deal for the university. I still have a lot of really close friends on the staff there. Excited for Will Hall. Will was one of my assistants at Tulane, and I think he's going to do a great job taking Coach Summerall's place. So it's just neat to see, and we got the backing of the city. When we were there, I'll tell you one of the neat things is when we played in that Cotton Bowl. I got more emails from LSU people about how they were playing somebody and they're getting after them pretty good. I can't remember who it was. At the same time we were playing, and everybody kind of turned over to our game. And, had a lot of support from them as well. So it's neat to see the success that Tulane's had. And, I'll be rooting for them.
Yeah, we'll see if the Tigers and the Wave can tangle sometime on the field in the coming future, if that thing can be rekindled. They haven't played since 2009, so maybe at some point we'll see LSU and Tulane on the field again. But on the 27th window, we'll see the Tigers and the Cougs, something that we'll see as the season opener in Houston in 2027, but matter at hand coming up here in a few weeks. Willie Fritz. Coach, we appreciate you taking a few minutes away from your schedule to visit with us. Best of luck on the 27th and moving forward. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. Go Cougs.
It's our pleasure. That's Willie Fritz. That's interesting. I knew a lot of the synergies, like from his time at Tulane with Slade Nagel and with Alex Atkins, having been there. I didn't realize about Kevin Peoples and Coach Witt as well, who's a defensive analyst who works with Blake Baker. I mean, there's a lot. I guess it's true. I mean, you have a long career like Willie Fritz has had, and you are just going to cross paths with a lot of different people over the years. I mean, Coach Fritz is 65. You mentioned Central Missouri. He was the head coach at Central Missouri from 97 to 2009. That was after being at Blinn, which is a junior college that most people are familiar. I'm pretty sure Cam Newton went to Blinn, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Cam Newton went to Blinn. So, I mean, it's obviously a really successful JUCO. But anyway, we appreciate Willie Fritz for taking a couple of minutes. It's after further review. Mike Triplett's going to join us here in about 15 minutes from right now or so. We always appreciate having Mike. I want to remind you about Supper Club. Man, it's Thursday. Night is falling. It's after 5, so Supper Club is open. You know, maybe you're thinking Thursday, holidays are nigh. Do you really want to go home right now? No, you don't. No, you don't want to go home. You want to go to Supper Club. Like right now is where you want to go. You want to detour right now and go to Supper Club on Perkins Road. I mean, an absolutely exquisite dining experience. But one of the other reasons maybe just to pop in like right now is the decor. They did an absolutely marvelous job decorating the restaurant. It is Instagram approved. It's Instagrammable. Let's put it to you that way with the decor, the holiday decor that they did over at Supper Club. So get on by, even if it's just to pop in, to sit at the bar, have a glass of wine, cocktail, take a few photos. It is so worth doing. Man, have dinner at Supper Club tonight, any night. Well, not Sunday or Monday because they're closed, but Tuesday through Saturday, supperclubbtr.com. It's where you can go to get your reservations, supperclubbtr.com. Got friends or family coming in from out of town for the Christmas holiday. Make sure you take them to Supper Club. Incredible dining experience. Great way to celebrate anything, holidays, anniversaries, birthdays, milestones, or just any day. supperclubbtr.com. All right, y'all, it is AFR. We're glad to have you aboard with us. Earlier today, LSU did announce with Nike a really cool NIL initiative. Tomorrow, LSU's Chief Revenue Officer, Clay Harris, is going to be with us to dig a little deeper into that. And so a conversation I've been wanting to have with Clay for a while now. Clay was with us in the spring when LSU announced the NILSU Max program. And I've wanted to do a follow-up since, especially after Lane Kiffin was hired, and Lane was very outspoken about the importance of the NIL plan that LSU put together. And obviously, Clay's a big part of that. So Clay's going to be with us tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that conversation. Terry will be here on a Friday edition of AFR as well. So that's on tomorrow's show. I got a quick break. We'll continue again. Mike Triplett will talk some Saints with us in about 15 minutes. Don't you move. It's AFR.
After further review.
Hey, I want to remind you about Duplessis Builders. It's not too late if you still want to give your family the most incredible gift ever. Like, what if you put in a pool? Now, they're not going to be able to dig and have your pool done by Christmas, but a big part of that is if you start on December 11th, they're not going to be done in 14 days with your pool, because at Duplessis Builders, they take the time to do it right. And that's one of the reasons why Derek Duplessis and Duplessis Builders are able to offer a 10-year workmanship warranty on their pools, because they're never going to move to the next phase of the build until that phase is done properly, up to engineering standards, because Derek by trade is a mechanical engineer. By the way, with a minor in aerospace engineering, NBD, he could either build a spaceship or your pool. It's Duplessis Builders. Check them out online at duplessisbuilders.net. Pools, outdoor kitchens, they do it all. duplessisbuilders.net.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Rolling along, and glad you are hanging out with us here on a beautiful Thursday here in the capital city, or wherever you may be. Thanks so much. I know many of you listen online, you watch on YouTube, on WBTR. Thank you for being with us. For our great affiliates in Alexandria, Lafayette, Lake Charles, just sincere appreciation to everybody who spend time with us every day here as we get you home, or whatever and wherever you may be listening or watching. We just appreciate you for being with us here. Mike Triplett in about a dozen minutes from right now. We'll talk some Saints-Panthers with Mike, as we do every Thursday. I want to update you on two things. I said throughout this Lane Kiffin process, like, I don't cover Ole Miss, but I feel like throughout this process I have. And there's a couple of things out of Oxford today that I think they are potentially very relevant to LSU in the immediate short term and the long term. One is a conversation that we've been having since Lane Kiffin was hired, and it's about if LSU is going to retain Frank Wilson or not. So we've had the conversation a bunch. I don't only give you the big, long explanation, but the Cliff's Notes is Lane Kiffin has a running back coach named Kevin Smith, who's been with him for 9 years, 3 years at FAU, the last 6 at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin wants Kevin Smith to be his running backs coach at LSU. Well, Kevin Smith didn't get on the plane. He stayed at Ole Miss. His family came to Baton Rouge the Monday of Lane Kiffin's press conference. I was told a lot of that was moving in the direction like Kevin Smith was going to come to LSU. Early in this week, it felt like that started to shift, and we may now know why. Michael Katz, who covers Ole Miss for the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal, has put out on social media copies of the term sheets that several Ole Miss coaches have signed, according to Michael Katz. He's got the term sheet for Pete Golding and a handful of assistants, including John David Baker, Jake Schoonover, special teams coach who stayed, Brian Brown, Matt Kitchens, Jay Shoup, John Garrison, the offensive line coach who LSU wanted to hire, who stayed, Randall Joyner, Joe Judge, Wes Neighbors, and Kevin Smith. So Michael Katz is saying that these are signed term sheets. And by the way, we've talked often about how these MOUs, Memorandum of Understanding, the MOUs are non-binding, except you can write legally binding language. I've learned a lot about. I'm in an attorney's office today, but I am not an attorney. But I've learned a lot about this throughout this process. You can include binding language in an MOU, and it states very clearly at the top of this MOU, big bold letters, all caps, binding memorandum of understanding between the University of Mississippi, Ole Miss Athletics Foundation, and Pete Golding. So it is the term sheet for Pete Golding, which is basically a contract through December of 2030, where his contract will start this year at $6.8 and escalate to $7.2 million per year. That's relevant because what Michael Katz is suggesting here is that not only does Pete Golding have a binding MOU, but all the assistants I mentioned, including Kevin Smith. That, of course, is relevant because Kevin Smith is the running backs coach that Lane Kiffin wants to hire. And if Kevin Smith comes to Baton Rouge instead of staying at Ole Miss, there is no spot for Frank Wilson on staff. You get where I'm going. If Kevin Smith has signed this binding MOU with an intent to sign a contract at Ole Miss and stay with the Rebels, then LSU needs a running backs coach, in which case Frank Wilson can stay. I do not know. I am very clear, I am not reporting anything. I want to be very clear. I am merely connecting dots very logically, okay? I am looking at cause and effect. And this would stand to reason, it makes a lot of sense, that if it were to play out this way, that Frank Wilson would be back. You just get the cut from Frank Wilson on his Zoom on Tuesday when he was asked about his future. Because up until this point, you can similarly draw some very logical conclusions where Lane Kiffin wanted Kevin Smith to be the coach, the running backs coach. LSU is very, very aggressively pushed for Blake Baker to be retained. In fact, increasing his salary to $3 million a year, announcing retention of the staff, including Corey Raymond and Jake Olson and Kevin Peoples. The fact that and he's hired his offensive staff, the ones that he brought, and then brought in an offensive line coach and Eric Wolford. Anyway, all that to say, the fact that you have not had resolution on Frank Wilson, if they wanted eagerly to keep Frank Wilson, that could have been done. The fact that it hasn't been done to this point kind of would tell you the story. And when Frank met with reporters via Zoom earlier this week to preview the bowl game, he was asked about his future, and this is what Frank said.
No, we've had conversations, and for me and for Coach Kiff, it's let's play this game. on the 27th, and we'll go into those details later. We just want to finish what we've started with this football team, with the team of 2025, give them our undivided attention before transition happens. And so until then, nothing will necessarily happen in that regard. You know, there'll be opportunity there. Where that lies, I'm not sure. But the priority is our current football team.
Okay. That's not the kind of answer that instills a ton of confidence that he expects to be back. Well, you fast forward 48 hours or so, and we learn that Kevin Smith has signed a binding MOU to return to Ole Miss. Maybe this is looking better, which would be incredible, because this is where I will give you my opinion, which is I want Frank. I will put this in giant lights on the top of this building. I'll get Gordon to buy a big Frank Wilson inflatable. We'll put it on I-10. I don't know. He might actually do that. But anyway, I want Frank Wilson to be back for all the reasons we've talked about forever. You have to recruit New Orleans. You have to put a fence around New Orleans. You have to have someone with ties to the New Orleans area. There is nobody better than Frank Wilson. Yes, LSU has won championships without Frank Wilson on staff. But is there anyone better to recruit New Orleans, to be that conduit, than Frank Wilson? No. The players love him. The recruits love him. He's got relationships. There's nobody better. I want him on staff. I also understand that Lane Kiffin's the head coach. He has autonomy to hire a staff, and he should. But if the guy he wants chooses to stay in Oxford, then there should be no other choice to be the running backs coach than Frank Wilson. Like, that should be done tomorrow. If Kevin Smith is staying at Ole Miss, then Frank Wilson staying at LSU should already be done and announced. And I hope it is soon. All right, it's after further review. The one other tidbit, and this is not nearly as credible, so I hesitate to even bring this up, because who I just referenced in Michael Katz, he is a credentialed member of the media. He's an AP and Heisman voter. He writes for a credible outlet, and he actually has a photo that he shared of the MOU we're discussing. Like, that is credible. This, I don't know if it is, but it's a story worth watching. This is on Twitter from the Twitter is Ole Miss Sports. However, it is not an officially affiliated link. It's I don't even know what they do. So again, I hesitate very, very much to share this, because it's an account with 20,000 followers. It looks like it's just a fan account. I do not have any idea whatsoever if this is credible, but it's suggesting that there might be a lawsuit that would not allow Ole Miss players to transfer to LSU because of tampering. Now, apparently this happened with Lane Kiffin in Mississippi State with a couple of players that they note. I've tried to ask a few people. Again, I hesitate to even bring this up because there's nothing credible here to suggest that this is valid. But this is also something that's not unprecedented, where you have had schools file tampering lawsuits to prevent players from transferring. That is not uncommon. And this is a weird, messy thing where Lane Kiffin left. Some of the LSU coaches have gone back. And it stands to reason that you're going to have Ole Miss players enter the portal. There's players from every program that enter the portal. And some are going to want to come to LSU. I believe, totally speculative, if Ole Miss did try to file a lawsuit to prevent any kid from going to the portal to sign with LSU, it feels like LSU could just file a countersuit immediately and would win, because the NCAA isn't stopping anyone from doing anything right now, including players transferring. And it always happens that when a coach transfers, players from his current school follow that coach to wherever the new school is. So it would stand to reason, just like when Brian Kelly took the LSU job, Logan Diggs, Jay Bramblett. Remember this? Like, you had players from Notre Dame come to LSU. That's just what happens everywhere. So I would assume, yes, there will be players from Ole Miss that enter the portal to come to LSU. And I don't know that there's a legal action that'll stop it, but it's something worth watching as we move forward. All right. It is after further review. We are glad to have you aboard with us here, hanging out. We are brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing, parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know at Parrish Construction and Roofing. That's me and Terrio and Tilly and Joe and our whole team over there. We'd love to help you out. Repairs, replacements, all the weather, the rain this past weekend. If you had leaks, roof damage, think you might, we'd love to help you out with a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. We do soft washes as well. We can come clean all the algae, the mildew off your roof. It'll extend the life of your shingles. It'll beautify your home. We can soft wash the exterior of your home, all the hardscape around your home or office building. We'd love to help you out. Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction Roofing, parishbuilt.com. Okay, let's not get a break. We'll come back, and Mike Triplett will be here. We'll talk some Saints. Stick around. It's AFR.
After further review.
Love telling you about our friends over at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, yourgoodwood.com. That's yourgoodwood.com. I was having this conversation actually earlier today with a buddy who had knee surgery and tore his ACL, MCL, meniscus, had knee surgery and still has a lot of pain, like walking up and down stairs. And I brought up BPC 157, the peptide I've told you before. I was like, you should try this. I'm not telling you that it's going to totally heal you and be miraculous, but it might. It's done wonders for my back. But even if you just do one cycle, an 8-week cycle of taking BPC 157 daily, a small injection around the area of the surgery, and see if in 8 weeks it doesn't help you feel, what do you have to lose in one cycle? Maybe it is miraculous for you, like it has been for me. Learn, if nothing else, you owe it to yourself to learn more. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness can help. yourgoodwood.com. It's yourgoodwood.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Mike! Yeah?
New Orleans Saints coverage with some Mad Libs mixed in.
Why don't you just go by Mike?
It's time to talk black and gold with Mike Triplett of New Orleans.Football. Presented by Benny's Car Wash. Family owned and operated since 1951.
We roll along on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by Decision Critical, live from Gordon McKernan Injury Attorney's office for the 600 bike giveaway today. Bringing some holiday cheer to less fortunate kiddos, which is an awesome reason to be here. Always great to talk to Mike Triplett, New Orleans.Football. Mike, how are you, man?
Doing good. How are you?
I mean, the Saints got a franchise quarterback that's going to be in the Hall of Fame in about 15 years, right? Feel awesome.
Well, no, 20 years because he's going to play for 15 and then get in 5 years.
See, I think you're not taking into account the fact that he's 26.
He's going to play till he's 44 because we got Phillip Rivers setting that precedent. So that's 18 years, so 23 years. 23.
Man, does he take the 5-year break in between?
Oh, and then come back to bail out the Saints when they haven't found his replacement. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're always thinking next level.
That's why they pay me the moderate bucks and to sit in the chair. Hey, no, but for real though, Shuck, like the stats were not good, but he had it's fair to say, like he was good though, right?
Yes, he was, and it is funny that if you just read the box score, that doesn't stand out. I mean, part of it is you had to be watching the game and realize the conditions of the rain and the wind and the sloppy weather. I mean, Baker Mayfield, his numbers look equally bad. It was hard to throw, and it was just sort of the clutchness of it. It was the 2 rushing touchdowns, especially the one where he escaped the sack and turned it into a touchdown. It was the 3rd and 8 conversion, 3rd and 8 conversion, 3rd and 5 conversion, 3rd and 6 conversion. We hadn't seen that in years from a Saints quarterback. That's what had been missing from this offense, and it's sort of the biggest delineator between him and Spencer Rattler. And it was things we even said about like Andy Dalton and Trevor Siemian when they were playing well, but then the team would get behind or it would be 3rd and long and it was over. So I think what's so promising about him is 3rd and 8 isn't dead. Almost being sacked isn't dead. Scrambling and escaping the pocket isn't dead. And I think that's why everybody's kind of captivated by what they're seeing.
Great way to put it. Is there anybody else offensively that you're looking at going, I kind of like that too?
Well, I mean, you have to like what you've seen from Devon Bailey the last 2 weeks, going from, man, did they just completely waste a draft pick on a non-factor to, oh, man, he's the guy who's catching those 3rd and 8s and those 3rd and 5s. And that is kind of what we were sold on he was supposed to look like. And, you know, I don't think he's ever going to turn into Marcus Colston or anything like that. But, you know, if he's catching 4 or 5 passes a game and he's a guy that you can go to on 3rd downs, that makes him worth a 4th-round pick. And then Devin Neal, again, my expectations are still tempered, But when you lose Kendry Miller and you lose Alvin Kamara, and then the rookie sixth-round pick can handle the volume he's handling as a pass protector, a pass catcher. He had one of those 3rd and 8 conversions. He had 19 carries. So, it's good to see those guys. We're not talking world beaters here or whatever, but we're looking for any positive signs of encouragement.
Is there any realistic belief that we might see Alvin Kamara this weekend?
No, I don't think so. Not this weekend. We haven't seen him out of practice yet. He's not going to just show up and play. If you said this season, maybe, because they didn't put him on IR, but the clock's ticking now.
Yeah. What about, I would assume Justin Reed and Taliesin Fuaga will play against Carolina. They were both out of practice today?
Fuaga, almost for sure. He's been out at practice for everything we've seen all week, starting Wednesday. Reed, more of a maybe. On Wednesday, he was wearing kind of a T-shirt, working off to the side, and then today he returned to practice on a limited basis. So TBD, but definitely possible, and obviously tracking to come back soon.
Then let's go through the impact of those guys. If there's no Kamara, and then assuming Fuaga is back, and then the question mark on Reed.
Well, Fuaga is a huge impact, I think. Now, I'd like to see Fuaga get fully healthy. I think some of his uglier games on tape have been when he's been fighting through an injury and then ends up missing the next game because, clearly he was fighting through something. So I don't want to see him keep fighting it at 75%, but I think the drop-off from healthy Taliesin Fuaga to the backups that they've had out there has been a big problem for them this year. So I think he makes a big difference as both a pass protector and a run blocker. Justin Reed, I think, obviously makes a difference. He's one of the most talented players on the team. They do have a little more depth at safety. Not only has Jonas Sanker had a good season, but, veteran backups like Terrell Burgess and Jordan Howden have been playing well, too. So it doesn't feel like the drop-off is as much, but obviously it helps to have one of your best players back.
Mike Triplett's with us at Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football. Our chats are brought to you by Benny's Car Wash, Benny'sCarWash.com. Make sure, great gift. Get your gift card, $50 gift card, and you get a free month of the Unlimited Club, Benny'sCarWash.com. Mike, you and I have talked a lot this year about guys on the defense, some of the young guys on the defensive side that we're kind of hoping to see maybe progress. You just mentioned Jonas Sanker as one of them. If you've been paying attention any more at the linebackers and some of the young guys at the second level?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing as I just said with Devin Neal. Like, I'm not going to get overly excited about Danny Stutzman and Isaiah Stalbert, but I love seeing rookies and second-year guys contribute, and I love their sort of attitude and their philosophy toward putting them in the games and like making sure they get their 15, 20 snaps a game because, they're developing them for the future and getting them involved instead of just making them wait their turn. I just love that that's sort of been their outlook. It feels like Danny Stutzman makes 3 plays a game every single game. I've really been interested in what I've seen from him and Stalbert on third downs, getting those sacks and making plays like that. So I like that. I don't think we're looking at like future Pro Bowlers or anything, but that's obviously encouraging. And yeah, same thing on the back end. Jonas Sanker, Quincy Riley, they're getting these guys involved, and I think there'll be depth pieces. You need more stars on this team. There's no question at every level of the team, but the depth helps too.
Mike, I'm not trying to force Demario Davis out. He's at 118 tackles. I mean, by the way, the next closest is Pete Werner at 69. I mean, Demario Davis is still defying time in an incredible way. I just keep looking at it going, as much as I love this man and the way he plays football, eventually it's going to stop, and they have to have a plan for it. So that's why I keep asking about the linebackers to see how that may look. What about Charlie Smith?
Yeah, I mean, he exceeded my expectations by drilling that 56-yarder after they iced him for 3 hours before he finally got a chance to kick. But then obviously the miss came. It was a clean miss. It was, right on the line, just a little left of the pole. I have a feeling Charlie Smith will be like, I don't know, 18 of the 20 kickers we've seen since we used to go through the Sean Payton kicker carousel where they make, 78% of their kicks. I don't know that we're going to find a phenom in him. And sometimes, sometimes you just got to live with it. 8 out of the 10 kicks are going to go through. But he's such a cool story. I hope he can stay mentally stable through the highs and lows and not let it get in his head. And I think he can. I've been so impressed by how far he's come so far.
Mike, how different is Carolina, this matchup, than the one we saw at the beginning of November?
Man, I'm glad that nobody is paying me to have astute Carolina Panthers analysis. I did not think they were that good going into this year. Every once in a while, I caught a glimpse of them and didn't think they were that good. And then we saw the Saints in Carolina, and I thought, oh, they're the worst team in the NFL. And then every time I'm not watching them, they're beating the Packers or the Eagles or the
Rams.
or the Rams. Yeah, I have no idea what to make of this team. And I have a feeling they're probably a little which team is going to show up. I know during some of those wins, they were relying heavily on the run game. And it was when Rico Dowdle was getting 200-yard games and the two-headed monster of Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. And when the Saints beat them, they said, no, you are not going to run against us. We are stopping the run. What else you got? And they had nothing else. And I thought, man, Bryce Young still doesn't have it. Then I see Bryce Young threw for 400 yards last game. So I have a feeling the game plan is the same, though. You force Bryce Young to beat you, and he needs to show up.
If you had to pick it, Mike, with 4 games to go and 4 very winnable games, Carolina, the Jets, the Titans, and the Falcons, but also because the Saints aren't very good, they're 4 very losable games. What do you think happens here at 3 and 10? What do they do in these next 4?
Yeah, I mean, I said if I was Vegas, I'd probably set the line at 1.5. But if I had to guess a record, I think 2-2 is realistic. I think the last 4 games for all of these teams, except Carolina, who's obviously tied for the NFC South lead, those last 3 games are going to be about how bad do you want it, or has your mind already drifted toward where you're going on vacation in January? And I feel like the Jets sold all their part. I'm surprised the Jets have fought as much as they have already. They sold Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams at the trade deadline, lost their quarterback, lost their star receiver. That feels like a game the Saints would win at home if they really want to win, and they're trying. The Titans, I think, are the opposite. I think the Titans are going to try to win as many games as they can to try to enter next year on a high note. And Atlanta could be a team that is just like, woe is us at the end of the year. So those are the 2 that I feel that. But, yeah, I mean, I would not bet a single dollar on any of these games. I think they're all toss-up. It's
going to be fascinating to watch how it unfolds. We'll be there. You can read about it over at neworleans.football. Find all the content there as well, neworleans.football. He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett. Our chats every Thursday are brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. Make sure you get Benny's Car Wash gift cards this holiday season. They're awesome stocking stuffer. Benny'sCarWash.com. Mike, we appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, man. Be well. We'll talk again next week. It is after further review. Man, been a really good show. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. I want to give you a quick reminder about our friends at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Game watch. Get all your food at Rouse's. Got a Christmas party, holiday party coming up? Get everything you need at Rouse's. You need to go pick up something to bring to the party. Sandwich tray, fruit tray, vegetable tray. The mini muffalettas, the chicken wings, the ribs. Maybe you got to bring a dessert, cookies, pedophores, maybe that pie or cake. They got it all for you at the bakery. And if you're making groceries, man, just go to Rouse's. I mean, you can even let them go shop for you. Pull up the app, pick out your items. Your personal shopper will pick them up, pick it out for you. You pull into a spot, boom, they'll bring it out to your car. You don't even get out. It's easy. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Download the Rouse's app. Rouse's, this feels like home. All right, y'all, we are we've got 1 segment to go. Big thanks. Man, we were loaded up today. Big thanks to Louis Riddick, who is here in hour 1 from ESPN. Louis Riddick, if you don't remember, was maybe the most bullish on Tyler Shuck pre-draft. And came on and we had a great conversation with Louis Riddick. That was in hour 1. Gordon McKernan sat with us here for a couple segments. Talked Lane Kiffin, talked NIL. If you missed that convo, you'll want to check it out. Willie Fritz was here earlier this hour, head coach of the Houston Cougars. And then you just heard Mike Triplett. You missed anything, AFR On Demand, presented by Brett Golf. Of course, you can get it on podcast or YouTube. Well, I got a final break. One thing left to do. Jimmy will be here for Out of Locks. We'll find out what we're betting on tonight. Stick around. We'll wrap up AFR next.
AFR.
If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Visit firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. First South Farm Credit. Nearing the end of the year, who knows? Maybe you can sneak it in before the deadline. If you're thinking of buying land, great opportunity to do so. Maybe you're thinking before the end of the year. Your CPA might recommend land as a great investment. Of course, you're going to incur expenses when you buy land. So First South Farm Credit is an awesome place to call to get in touch with a local lender. If you're thinking of buying land, you want to talk to someone who lives where you live, works where you work, well, that's First South Farm Credit. And remember, the patronage refund, which I love telling you about every year, this past year, they paid out $25.5 million back to their borrowers, which effectively reduces the cost of borrowing by about a full percent. So you can always learn more at firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on this Thursday edition of AFR. As always, we love to thank Blasia and the great team over at Decision Critical. It's not just healthcare, it's healthcare for your lifestyle. It doesn't matter if maybe you're bringing home a newborn and you need to sleep at night. You can let their expertly trained nurses take care of your baby while you sleep. Maybe it's end-of-life care. Maybe you've gotten a difficult diagnosis. Maybe you're post-operative and you need to carry out your physician's orders in-home and you need in-home nursing care, hospice care. They can do it all. I told you that we had Decision Critical's nurses come to do a blood draw and drew in our home. Therapeutic phlebotomy, IV hydration. They could do everything conveniently at your home, your office. Look them up at decisioncriticalbr.com. Decisioncriticalbr.com. Okay, one thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Yo, Otter, how are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. So we stuck our little toe in the water with the NBA, and then they take the tournament out. Now we don't know who's playing tonight. So we did get a couple of winners last night. That was good. And then, of course, our college game lost. But 2 out of 3. Let's go to Thursday night football, Matt. And Mike Evans is back. It's the first game he's been back since his hamstring injury. I like that. Baker Mayfield's been struggling a little bit. He's hurt. I mean, he was the leader at one point for the MVP early in the year. They were kind of the hot story, but he's been hurt. I just keep fighting with one thing, and this is a divisional game at 5.5 points, and that's just too many points for me. So we're going to go with the Dirty Birds, the Falcons, in the 5.5 in the football game. One college basketball game tonight, and that is Iowa and Iowa State. Actually, the women played the Iowa State last night. The men played tonight. We know that Ames is brutally tough for visitors. That's one of the biggest home court advantages that you wouldn't really think of because Iowa State, they had decent teams, good teams, but not like some of the heavyweights, and they've been unbelievable at home. But this line is just, and most of the bettors know that as well, this line is in double digits. Iowa's pretty good. I mean, Michigan State has a top 5 resume right now. They only favored by 5 points earlier this year, about a week ago, against Iowa. We're going to take the Hawkeyes on the road in the points, double digits tonight at Iowa State.
All right, Atlanta, the Falcons with the points, and then the Iowa Hawkeyes catching 11.5 tonight. All right, Otter, with no more Football Friday, or are we still doing Football Friday because of the NFL?
Well, if you hear the music in the background, I had to make sure everything was right. I'm at Rufino's right now, just making sure everything's right. Tomorrow. Come by on your way home, man. It's festive over here with all the lights. And the last Friday before Christmas, we'll be over here tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. 11
a.m. to 1 p.m. for Live at Lunch with Otter and Handy. All right, Otter, we appreciate it, man. Have a great night.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks, man. Same to you. All right, so the Otters got the Falcons and the points and the Iowa Hawkeyes on the hardwood. Yeah, we got had a little bit of a rough go on the hardwood, on the college hardwood. A couple of years ago, man, Jimmy was in fuego, but hopefully catch a stride there on the hardwood pretty soon. We got the Falcons and Iowa tonight. All right, y'all, just about going to wrap up here. Again, man, big shout out to Gordon McKernan and the whole team over here. It's just such an amazing thing that they do. Gordon gives away 600 bicycles to children across our state. So they have, throughout the month of December, as we get closer to Christmas, they have the bike giveaway day at a lot of the different offices around the state, right? So today was the giveaway day here at the main office right off I-10 in Baton Rouge. And so we were happy to come and shine a light on the good deeds being done here, and hopefully help spread a little Christmas cheer to all the kiddos that picked up a bike, and maybe to everyone who's around and getting ready for the holidays and maybe inspired to do good for others during this time of year where a lot of people can use some uplifting and certainly prayer. So we appreciate Gordon and his team for having us, and we appreciate that partnership, and all of you for listening, watching, wherever you may be. So thank you sincerely for that. All right, just about going to do it for us here as we get down the road. Tomorrow, we are at Marucci, again, the Hitter's House. Y'all, we getting close to Christmas. You need some gifts. Come see us tomorrow at Marucci's Hitter's House. Alondra, unfortunately, has to hang out with me again tomorrow. But we appreciate the work she does. Hey, thumbs down. That ain't cool. Muse, Paulie back in studio. Appreciate it. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we do get on down the road, let me remind you about the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. Y'all, we are actually now getting down to the nitty-gritty, okay? If it's December the 11th, it's not too late to get your LASIK done before the end of the year. So if you have HSA, FSA funds, you can still do it. Like, you can still get it scheduled. You can have your consultation, get it scheduled, and get in there for a surgery day before the end of the year. But chop. Like, we got to get moving now. If it's something you want to put off to 2026, that's cool. But remember also, you can give LASIK as a gift. A lot of families do this. They'll go in together and give LASIK as a gift to a family member, and the Williamson Eye Center can package it. They can do like a gift certificate package up for you so you have something physical to give. But it's time to get rolling, y'all. Christmas is 2 weeks away. It's the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com.